Alright, it's been quite a while. I owe you guys a really big apology just because I haven't posted a video in a really long time. I think I need to sit down and film a quick 52 hard questions for you guys because I kind of need to explain where I've been for the last 2 months. The question of this week is, where have you been for the last 2 months? Okay, here we go. A lot of life just happened in the last 2 months. In my day-to-day life, I've just gotten a lot busier with work. Things have just been really picking up. I haven't really had much time outside of work for my regular life to kind of do my own thing, and so that kind of took a toll on my ability, or my capacity in order to put together videos like this. I do understand that work is supposed to be time-consuming and energy-consuming, but I didn't think it was actually going to be as much as it has been recently. At this point, I am pretty proud of myself for being able to kind of put shit together and being able to manage everything, but I did have to sacrifice a handful of things, and doing videos was one of them. As of lately, a lot of things have kind of slowed down a little bit, which is good, so there is more time for me in order to kind of put shit together like this. When I did have free time during my week, I've been spending a lot more time with my friends and the people around me. I've also been spending a lot of time, I guess, meeting new people and just trying to kind of put myself out there again a little bit more because it's kind of been hard for me a little bit recently. And so overall, that's been pretty good, but it didn't leave me with a lot of time in order for me to sit down and be able to put shit together like this. I'm personally not really too sure what happened because at one point I was able to manage everything, being able to do videos and being able to have fun with makeup in front of you guys and handle my workload and everything else going on and be able to see all my friends too. I think what really happened though was maybe it could have been like a lack of motivation on my end. I just haven't been able to really find it within myself in order to try and sit down and put things together for you like this. I mean, normally it's so easy. It's like, just sitting in front of a camera, putting together a makeup look, or just like sitting in front of my computer and just writing out all my thoughts and everything in order to put together a 52 hard questions video. But I don't know, I feel like I've just been a little bit hard on myself as well, just thinking that I wasn't going to go anywhere. And I know it's one of those things where it's just kind of, all in my head, obviously, but, it's hard to kind of pull myself out of that, and, normally I really try not to doubt myself, but a lot of the times it really does get difficult. Now, outside of my day-to-day life and, working and hanging out with friends and everything, I have been spending a lot of time going back to the Bay Area, going back home. I've been trying to go back as often as I can in order to try and spend as much time with my family as I can. My grandpa's been having a lot of health issues recently. He really hasn't been doing too well over the last couple of years, and it wasn't until these last couple times that I went back up where I've really been seeing him deteriorating, if that makes sense. He does undergo dialysis about like 3 times a week, and he's had a lot of issues with his kidneys and more recently his heart. Back in March, he actually had pretty bad heart failure to the point where his heart was beating about like 40 beats per minute, which is very low. If you guys don't know that, I'm pretty sure you guys do. That's when things really started to sink in because he had to undergo a last-minute pacemaker surgery. So right now he has like a pacemaker right here in his shoulder, and that's allowing his heart to kind of function better and beat the way that it should, which is good. I'm glad the doctors were able to help him out with that. Immediately after that, he did have to go into rehabilitation because he needed to be able to walk again and kind of get back on his feet, literally. It wasn't until I went back for a weekend, I think it was in April or so, when I went back up and he had just gotten out of the rehabilitation center, so he was, mostly recovered from what it looked like. Everything seemed fine. But that weekend that I went back, he was still going in and out of the hospital, not just for dialysis, but also for his heart wasn't doing too well, his breathing wasn't doing too well. And in April when I went back up, he actually fell down in our kitchen and broke his hip. And luckily I was there and with my friend and my grandmother to help him up again. But when he went back into the hospital, that's when he found out that he broke his hip. And he did have to undergo a last-minute hip replacement surgery as well, which, none of us were expecting, honestly. But it was at that point when I was already down in SoCal again. I had to come back for work and to take one of my friends back with me. But right when I found out that he had that hip replacement surgery, it was one of those things where I was like, I had to drop everything and I just had to go back home. All of us kind of had to do that too, like everyone in my family, like they had jobs, and even my aunt who lives in Hong Kong, she had to come back immediately, like at the drop of a dime too. And it's scary for all of us because it's a really high risk surgery because he has heart problems, he has kidney problems, his health is not great. He's 82, 83 years old, and it just wasn't it was just a really series of really unfortunate events that just kind of happened all around the same time, all kind of culminating up to that one point where he had to get that last minute surgery on his hip again, or where we had to get another last minute surgery, this time for his hip. That was probably one of the hardest weekends that I've ever had in my life, because when you see someone that you really love just being in that kind of position, it's really, really hard. And, you know, I think I may have talked about it in an older video before, but my grandparents are basically the ones who raised me, and there's nobody who means more to me than my grandfather does. That, you know, ever since what happened with his surgery, I just found that I needed to go back as often as I could. So it got to the point where I went back about 5 times in 4 weeks at one point, and just to spend as much time with him as I could. And it was a lot of driving from SoCal up to NorCal, and I, you know, just didn't have time to do anything else. I know that me being down here in SoCal, there's only so much that I can do, and I can't, I mean, you know, a lot of the pressure does rely on the rest of my family because they're all up there, and, you know, it's not like one of those things that makes me want to move back at all, because I know it's not something for me. But, you know, coming up and down all the time, and or going up and down in NorCal and SoCal all the time, and just having to see him like that. Right now he's in the rehabilitation center again, trying to get back on his feet again, literally. So that's been hard to see as well. Not only that, my grandmother's birthday was very recent, and he wasn't able to make it there. Thankfully I was able to make it there and take my grandma to it. But for the most part, it just wasn't easy, having everybody else there. And, well, my aunt wasn't there either because she just had a baby. But my grandfather wasn't there either, and so that was kind of weird, I guess you could say. But, and personally, it has been a little draining on me. Like, it's taken a lot out of my free time, which has prevented me from being productive and putting out videos like this one. But it is something that I had to do in order to try and invest the energy into the things and the people that I really do love. I've got, yeah, so basically moral of story, moral of story, I've had to go back home a lot, and I haven't had much time down here in order to really be able to push it together for you guys. So to simply answer the question, that's where I've been. Right now I do want to try and challenge myself a little bit, because I know that this has been affecting me very emotionally, and I haven't really had too much time in order to really sit down and try to think about how I've been handling this emotionally. I think, you know, obviously, like I said, seeing my grandpa in this condition and the way that he has been has really been really challenging for me to try and stay positive. But, you know, that's just the kind of person I am. I just try to stay as positive as I can through everything, and I think I've been doing pretty good so far. But if I have to be completely honest, there have been a lot of times where, you know, since his health did start deteriorating, it did make me feel very, I guess, kind of afraid, in terms of, or maybe not, no, it has made me pretty scared and afraid, just to kind of know what's to come, what I know is going to happen at some point. It's really hard to see someone that you truly love, and someone who really means a lot to you just be the way that they are at that point. And I don't know, it's one of those things where when I'm around people, I don't want to let it bother me or anything, or I don't really want to open up to anyone else about it, just because I feel like it's not something that I can bring myself to do. And sometimes I always feel like I have to pretend like I have like a huge front that I'm handling everything okay, when maybe sometimes I'm not handling it as well as I think I am. And I don't know, I wish you guys knew how hard it was for me to try and open up like this, just because I've always just kind of been taught that it's not necessary, it's not really needed. Like, I'm able to handle things, or like I'm capable of handling this. But I really just hate getting to this point, because I don't know, it's just really difficult for me to try and articulate how I feel about things like this. I don't really have too much of an emotional chamber to tap into at this time right now, but I know that there's more in there, I just can't really get it out. All I can really say is I do feel pretty afraid, and I do feel nervous a lot of the time when I think about my grandpa. But I need to stay and remain as positive as I can throughout all this. TLDR, to wrap everything up, I've just been working a lot. I've been trying to spend time with the people who I love and the people that are around me. Trying to make relationships with people, and try to meet new people and just try to put myself out there a little bit more. And I've been trying to go back and from NorCal to SoCal and back to NorCal again. and back to SoCal again. It's a lot of driving. But I know I'm a strong person. I know I'll be able to handle this and I'll be able to work it out. And I want to give myself a little bit more downtime in order to put videos out for you guys again. But I just want to end it here, and I just want to thank you guys for watching this, and I hope you guys will continue to watch whatever is going to come soon. And more than anything, I guess right now I wish you guys would give me some support for my family, and we're all going through a lot right now, and I'm just hoping for the best. But thanks guys. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, comment down below if you guys have any thoughts or anything, and be sure to like this video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and hope you guys have a good one. Bye.